Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 7th of November 2022. Today I want to talk a little bit more about all of this stuff with the powers that shouldn't be, seem to be getting nastier to what they term as misinformation spreaders, otherwise known in our circles as truthers. And I think I've got to the bottom of it. So I was saying the other day how David Icke had been banned from Europe. That transpires to be true because I've seen a lot more information on that, and he has actually been banned pretty much from the whole of the European mainland. You can still go to Ireland, Republic of Ireland, but not to anywhere in Europe by the sounds of it. And I've also heard that Richard D. Hall, who produced that excellent animated video about the perils of going central bank digital currencies, that was a fantastic video. I talked about it a few weeks ago, and I'm sure many people watching this have already seen it. But he has had his account on this platform closed down now, and the BBC did some kind of hit piece on him as well. So he's getting attacked, David Icke is getting attacked, and also we've had lots of people. I was mentioning these UK city mayors who so Andy Burnham and Sadiq Khan, who were both kind of having a go at truthers basically. And in New Zealand and other places, they're also starting to talk about kind of truthers as being some kind of low-level sort of terrorism, which is absolutely mad. And you have to ask why they're doing this, because if people like David Icke and Richard D. Hall, etc., were just a bunch of crazy people, it shouldn't matter what they're saying or what they're doing. You as someone in power, it shouldn't affect you at all, and you should just say, oh yeah, they're just spouting a load of rubbish, and I can prove that what they're saying is a load of rubbish, and you wouldn't have to worry about it, would you? So the fact that these people aren't able to prove that what these people are saying are a load of rubbish, because if they could, they wouldn't have to do things like censorship. And I think it's one of David Icke's sons made the very good point of censorship is actually coming from a place of weakness, not a place of strength, which I thought was an excellent point. If you've got nowhere else to go, you just censor people, you silence people. And it's almost like a wild animal backed into a corner sort of syndrome. And I think that is what's going on. These people realised that the truth is coming out. More and more people are waking up to what people like Icke and Hall are saying. And I saw in one of my Telegram groups, there was a survey done, I believe it was in the USA somewhere, and according to this survey, 44% of people now believe that the governments of the world are run by this cabal, or whatever, or cult, or whatever you want to call it, and that they're owned by them and they've been corrupted by them. And I think the people who did the poll weren't expecting that massive amount of people, that massive percentage. So we're almost getting to the stage where we're going to be in the majority if that trend continues. And these polls, okay, you can't rely on them, and that figure may well be lower than what that poll suggests. But I always think that when you start hearing things just when you're out and about, people talking about things, that is when you get into the stage, the tipping point. An example, I think I've mentioned this in my videos before, but not for a while. I knew a couple of weeks before the last general election here in the UK, when Johnson got his landslide victory, I knew a couple of weeks before that the Conservatives were going to win, simply because I was doing a job round at this lady's house. And okay, I know you can't always judge a book by its cover, but she very much seemed to me like your sort of typical sort of Labour voter, sort of obviously from a working class background. And I just would have thought ordinarily that she would have voted Labour. And while I was doing this job, there was a knock on the door and she answers it, and it's a couple of Labour Party canvassers, canvassing for the election door to door. And she just said, "No, sorry, I'm not going to be voting Labour," and then just shut the door on them basically. And then she said to me, can you imagine if Labour got in? And so when you see things like that in your everyday life, sort of people coming out with stuff like that, you can kind of get a sense of the mood of the country and what's going on. And I knew that, as I say, that the Conservatives were going to win. And my wife Lorraine, I'm sort of getting to the point now with what I'm saying there. She was talking to this guy at work last week, and he said, I've been watching some GB News, and this Great Reset thing you were talking about, they're talking about it. So I've now heard of this Great Reset thing. And he said, when you were talking about this kind of thing like a year ago, I just didn't really take you seriously, and I wasn't really believing you. But it looks like you're right, and it looks like you were well ahead of your time, well ahead of the curve on it. So this is what this bloke was saying, my wife Lorraine's work colleague was saying to her. And that is another sign, I think, a real life sign, that people, again, are waking up. More and more people are starting to learn about the Great Reset and how it's not a great thing. They're starting to learn about the Whiskey Echo Foxtrot and how that's not a great thing. And I think this trend is going to continue. I think in places like America and Canada, more people, they're more ahead of the curve there than we are in the UK, I think. I think there's more people there who are now awake to this kind of thing. But we're getting there in this country as well. Here in the UK, we're getting there. So I thought that was a very telling, interesting conversation that Lorraine had. And I think it does prove that we are approaching a tipping point. And I think that is why all of these horrible characters who are the powers that shouldn't be, who represent the powers that shouldn't be, why they are getting nasty, why they're censoring people, and why they're shutting people out, not letting them travel to their countries, and why they're just generally getting so nasty. But believe you me, that it is because they are coming now from a point of weakness, I believe, not a point of strength. And again, with the whole David Icke thing, it kind of reminds me of, let me take you back to 1984, and there was a hot new band who had just recently emerged called Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and I think pretty much their first hit single was the song Relax, and it looked like it was going up the charts nicely. And then, and I remember this because I was actually listening to the radio show at the time, and this relaxed song was playing, and whatever Radio 1 DJ it was comes on and says, I'm going to interrupt this song, I'm going to sort of take it off because I've just heard what the lyrics are, and yeah, I don't think it's appropriate, so I'm going to finish this song there. And sure enough, after that, it was banned from any radio or TV station. And they were hoping that this controversial song with its very racy lyrics was just going to be forgotten about. But it had the opposite effect, because everybody was like, oh, I wonder what's... probably people who wouldn't even have bought that single. We're back in the days of going out and buying singles from record shops, of course. They went out and bought the single, and this relaxed song, yeah, it would have been a hit for sure, because it's a great tune, but I don't think it would have been... It's the iconic hit it became. It was one of the biggest hits of the 80s, wasn't it? And that is all because of this censorship, basically, which the BBC tried to do. And I think that's going to happen with this David Icke thing. It's going to wake a lot of people up to him, you know. Yeah, people who up to now thought, oh yeah, he's just a crank, yeah, sort of crazy dude. Well, why are they banning him? You know, what's he saying that has led the Dutch government and all, you know, other places in Europe to ban him? Yeah, what's he saying? Let's sort of go and listen to him. And then they'll start listening to him, of course, and start hearing some of the stuff that we already know. So could it be another Frankie Goes to Hollywood relax moment? You know, have the powers that shouldn't be shot themselves in the foot again? Time will tell, I suppose, but yeah, interesting point, don't you think? Anyway, with that, I'm going to leave it, and I'll be back tomorrow. Tim from Fair Play now, thanks for watching.